Hey, everybody, welcome back to Vision Pros. I'm your host and coach, Fletcher Ellingson. Today on the show, we have got Mr. Chris Brunelli. He's from Surpass Solutions. And Surpass Solutions is an electronic data interchange company. Now, I warned him, I don't know what that means. I don't know if you know what that means, but we're going to find out because it may be something that your company is ready for. Chris Brunelli, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Fletcher. Great to be here and part of Vision Pros. So
Yeah.
appreciate being on the show. Hey, electronic data interchange, if you want to end a party, you can start talking about it, and it's a real sizzler, but it's something that, believe it or not, powers about 80% of B2B commerce, right? Websites and e-commerce sites get all the views, right? But when you're talking about actual volume, right, and dollar value, it's about this technology that is quite old, right? It predates the internet and uses positional flat files essentially to share business documents like purchase orders and invoices and shipping information, right? And it's how much of commerce actually happens. So what we do is we help entrepreneurs that are, have kind of tapped out the direct to consumer, e-commerce and Amazon channel to try and punch up, go from 7 figures to 9 figures by going retail. Right. And, if you go retail, you have to support EDI. There's no option there. And then the question is, how do you do that? Right. And there's a bunch of providers like us that help, kind of bring that to life for them, and then integrate with systems that they use in their own business, right? Like to manage their inventory and track their orders. So those entrepreneurs generally live in, some kind of a software that helps them do that. And our stuff integrates with those kind of softwares. So hopefully that helps, kind of
it does.
frame it up.
And I'm gonna bring a spotlight back to something you said, because when you said this, the wheels began to turn for me, and so I'm going to assume that that's going to happen for some of our audience too. You said that when a company reaches a certain point where perhaps they've been selling on Amazon or similar platforms, and they've tapped that out, they've maxed out. They're like, hey, we're not seeing increased revenues now. Mm-hmm. This is where you come in, and now they're going to be going more direct retail. Is that accurate?
That's right. Yeah. So, the old adage, right? Whatever is good enough to get you there is not good enough to get you where you want to go, right?
Yeah.
So, that's the same here, right? You've got to be able to, think about, if you're doing really well and you've crested, $1 million in revenue and your customers love you, if you're looking at, kind of the entrepreneur journey, right? You want to start by proving that everyone loves the product and generate some revenue, and no better evidence than that, right? And then, eventually the people that you want to impress aren't just the customers, but, maybe a national retailer that could really change the trajectory and change the life of the business, right? There's a colleague of mine in the space who says, build a business worth selling, right? And being able to get the right revenue up and the right revenue multiple at exit is a goal of a lot of the entrepreneurs that we work with, and there's no better way to do that than partnering with the right people and getting the right getting the tech side perfect, so that everyone's in harmony and in alignment. So
right, and that's where you all come in, because the companies that you support, they're busy creating their widgets or whatever they're creating.
Consumer goods, generally some food, beverage, some apparel.
Okay, great.
Those kind of folks.
And that's their specialty. That they know how to do that. They're good at that. And what you're coming in to aid them in doing is really scale at that next level. And that's your specialty. Is that on the mark?
That's exactly right, Fletcher. I mean, these guys, and I use guys generally, right? But they're really good at their core competency, creating products that do well, that people love, right? But they might not manufacture their own products, right? They might not even warehouse their own products, right? They use third
Mm-hmm.
parties for a lot of this stuff, but and what we do is we help them focus on their core competency, right? Traditionally, they would require a bunch of software tools to be able to do what we do as a managed service for them, right? So,
Yeah.
that allows them to, not have to invest heavily in IT talent or consultants or all that other stuff. They just want a turnkey operation to be, in lockstep compliance with their retail trading partners, right?
Yeah.
Walmart and Target and the like, they have, famously thin margins, right? They
Right.
operate on supply chain execution and efficiency. So, and that means getting that part of the business right. And so we handle that for our customers so that they don't have to, right?
Got
Yeah.
it. Got it. Okay. Yeah. So a company looking to get to that next place, they're definitely going to need services that you provide to help them do that effectively, right? Instead of a lot
Yeah,
of trial and error.
that's it. It's a big market and it's been around for a really long time since it predates the internet, right? So,
Yeah.
there's all types of ways to go about it. Generally, there's an outsourced versus insourced, right? There's 70,000 people on LinkedIn with EDI in their title, right? And they get paid well, right? Because it's tough stuff. It's
Yeah.
gnarly, right? And
Yeah.
it's tough to get right, and you need smart people when those type of problems persist, right? But not everyone has the budget for going out and grabbing one of these and adding them to the team, or they're at a transitional phase, or they want to focus on their core competency and leverage people like us to go help them be in lockstep compliance with those big retailers, and play with the big dogs without necessarily having, big dog expense, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good. 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 So thanks for all of that. That paints a much clearer picture in my mind and hopefully in the mind of our listeners. And someone is going to hopefully self-identify and go like, oh, that's the type of company that I need to be considering for our next move. Now the show is called Vision Pros, and
yeah,
I define vision as a clarified story that lives in the brain that's intended to manifest in the physical realm. So what I want to know is, Chris, what is your vision?
well, I got a few, but I guess ultimately, my vision for the future is one where consumer packaged goods, food and beverage entrepreneurs can go to market for less, right?
Cool.
What we're seeing in AI is changing the scope of um, software enabled startups, right? They're going from, needing huge staffs of programmers to people vibe coding and then having, a programmer tighten it up and go to market, right? So we're seeing the cost of entrepreneurship dramatically reduced. And I think we'll see that across the entire market, right? And we hope to help, obviously usher that in. That's our vision for our own business, but our real vision is to enable these entrepreneurs to go to market and to do everything that better equipped, better financed, bigger shops are able to accomplish for far less, right? And
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and do a far better job at it, right? Impressing their
Yeah,
customers with what they can do.
I
uh,
like that. And I think it's important to reiterate what some of these important points. So bear with me because that's how I learn, is by kind of, did I get that right? Right. So what I heard you just say is your vision is, in a nutshell, to make scaling to that next level just simply more affordable in the retail market.
that's right.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, helping consumer goods entrepreneurs scale in retail without the traditional expense and the traditional tooling and the delays to be able to get that tooling right, to be able to support thousands of transactions, right? That's really a huge burden that we're able to lift off. And that's our vision of the future is one where, everyone has that, that bar lowered, and you can now, get into those situations, and you go from, the farmer's market to, an 8-figure or 9-figure enterprise within a much shorter time frame if you're able to focus on your core competency.
I love your messaging here, and again, I want to highlight it because I've been an entrepreneur all my life, and when I think of scaling, so I'm in the coaching space, so it's a very different scaling looks very different there. But when I think and I see new products go to market, and we have a farmers market in our town, and a lot of those people are like these, they have big visions. For myself, and because I have been in manufacturing as well, the thought of how to get from here up to there seems so daunting that it could, for many entrepreneurs, just like, nah, we're not even going to try. So when I hear you, when I listen to you, and the reason like that might occur for many entrepreneurs is because like too many hoops, not in my wheelhouse, and the expense is massive, right? So your messaging is really important to be heard, is that there are ways. You don't have to figure it out all by yourself.
That's
We
right.
have the methodologies, and we're really committed to making this way more affordable than it's ever been.
Yeah, I mean, something that's been more, or less a guiding vision in my own life, right? Somebody else did it, right? Take a look around, right? Who else is doing this right now,
Yes.
right? This is figure outable, right? And
Yes. Yeah.
if you really want to, scale your business, and that's a big goal of a lot of our customers and a lot of the people we talk to, we get it, right? And we've helped a lot of people along the way, and this is this is stuff that you can learn how to do and to build it up, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's such an, there's a whole bunch of landmines, there's a whole bunch of things that, but as someone once said, you'll arrive at those, junctions, bridges, crossroads with all of the facilities that, you're equipped with today, and you figured this much out so far. So go for it.
Yeah. I love that attitude. Yeah. Because the people who have done it, they've trailblazed the way, proved that it can be done. That means it's actually going to be even easier for those who are following behind. Right.
Absolutely. And, there's a whole bunch of vendors out there like us, right? That are, in this space, and we exist solely because, we've got a better way to go about it. Right. And we've helped people do a better job than what the previous iteration was. Right. And if people, can apply that to anything, right. And just say, who out there is able to help me. Right. And,
Yeah.
if that's where I want to go, how do I leverage, the knowledge and their experience, and to see what's out there, and not feel so, alone, or not feel like, they've got to do this all themselves. Right. If they can just squelch down the, kind of the pride, and open up the learner's mind, anything's possible.
Yeah, I like that. Open up the learner's mind. You also mentioned that like there are a lot of companies like yourself, the company Surpass Solutions. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to differentiate yourself. Why you guys?
Yeah. So the technology has been around for, 50 plus years. So how has other technologies changed, throughout that time is immeasurable, right? We've gone, from manned flight to space flight. So, and in the technology industry, my first EDI business was one that came at the onset of cloud technology, right? Where all of a sudden you're taking stuff off of their local server, sitting underneath someone's desk, right? And
Yeah.
putting it up where we could, take advantage of scale up in the cloud, right? The other the piece that's ultimately the biggest difference for Surpass is that we're not a tool, right? There's a saying out there that says tools are for fools. I think it's from Slootman, the Snowflake CEO and ServiceNow CEO. And we provide a managed service, right? It's very, very stark contrast between using software tools to orchestrate the ins and outs of EDI, or using a managed service with a software tool so that it effectively provides you the same benefits, right? Being EDI compliant, having that done for you, not incurring penalties and chargebacks from your customers, right? Making sure that your bills are getting paid because your invoices don't have errors and all that stuff, right? Ultimately, a managed service provider is, something that people consider, and when they do, we hope they consider Surpass.
Right on, right on. Well, I think that's a good place to begin to wrap this up. If people have heard you and they're like, hey, I want to talk to this Chris Brunelli guy, because maybe they're at that next point, right? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, just surpass.biz and hit contact. I'm also on LinkedIn. If anyone wants to look me up there, by all means. I love to chat with new people and learn new things and see how their business is running and see if we can help.
Right on. All right. So that was surpass.biz. You can also look Chris up on LinkedIn. Chris, thanks so much for your time here. I wish you all the best.
Great. Thank you so much, Fletcher. Really appreciate the opportunity and your time today.
Thank you for being here today. I'm really happy that you tuned in to Vision Pros Live. I'm looking forward to seeing your reactions as these episodes continue to move forward. This is going to get more and more fun. We'll have more and more engagement as well. We'll invite people to participate in the show. And thank you for giving us your time and attention. Have an excellent time building out your vision and becoming a Vision Pro yourself.